Good morning. I just read Ezekiel chapter 26. Not a whole lot in the chapter, just a judgment against the nation of Tyre. I guess Tyre used to be a nation, a pretty powerful one in the Mediterranean. They had like a mainland kind of city, and then a big portion of their nation was connected by a little causeway like in the ocean, so it's kind of like an island nation, and they basically controlled the seas, and it kept things pretty stable at the time. A lot of stability from just having one person in control, but they were not godly people. They were not the chosen ones. And when Jerusalem fell, they had the same attitude as the other nations, like, hey, look, they fell, now we can go in their city and take what we want, and we're glad that this came to God's people. Utter disregard for how it came around, taking pleasure in the downfall of others, and God judges them, and he talks about them, and just kind of the same judgment. Your walls are going to come down. He's sending Nebuchadnezzar, which he calls Nebuchadrezzar. Same guy though, against them as like the King of Kings. He talks about many nations coming against them, and that's because Babylonians were like a tribe-like people, war tribes, and Nebuchadnezzar was of the biggest one, the Chaldeans. But he sends his Babylonians again. It's interesting, they're his God's weapon, I guess, even though I know that the king of Babylon was not like, oh, I want to serve God. There's record of that. But God, he takes the credit for their destruction too, and this is one of the few times I actually hear talk about hell. They call it the pit here, or the deep. And he talks about the judgment that they're going to face in the afterlife. And what I'm getting from this is it's a sin that we don't really think about sometimes, I guess. Taking pleasure in the hurt of others. Along the lines of vengeance, trying to take vengeance, unjust. I think it comes like hatred in your heart. Murder in your heart is hatred. And the thought of celebrating someone else's death, I think, falls along those lines. So it's a sin that we don't think about. I should not take pleasure that someone else got hurt. I might take pleasure that justice is done in an unjust situation, but not that situation.